I know that some of you have probably already completed everything that you need to for science, so that's great. If not, I'm going to just take a few minutes and go through kind of some of the things that we're supposed to get accomplished today. Trying to get my computer to get caught up here. So first up, we'll just take a look at the agenda. Did you take a minute or two? I think that's about 8 minutes for the DC Weekly episode, and that was put together by 6th grade for this week's episode. I don't know if they will take on any episodes in hybrid, but some of you that are part of that, you probably already know how that's going to work. So you can go ahead and watch that if you'd like to. Then we have this video on friction. Make sure that you watch that. Most of you are familiar what that concept is. However, just kind of a straightforward little video there that tells us a little bit more about that. Then the main chunk of what we're supposed to get done today is the simulation on potential and kinetic energy with the skateboard guy. So this simulation, if you haven't already looked, is the same one that we kind of talked about and referred to yesterday in class. And so this is that same website. So when you click on it, it takes you to this energy skate park. So this is where we're talking about today. And you're going to go ahead and click on the intro. And then, just like yesterday, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at some of the different things that are available for us to study and to look at. So I have a printed off copy of the worksheet. And so if you haven't already seen, then out on Google Classroom, there is a worksheet that Ms. Keski and I are asking you to complete as you're working on this. Now, the first part of it is actually some definitions that you can find using your textbook. You can Google some of them if it helps you at all. But basically going through defining kinetic energy, potential energy, mechanical energy. What is a joule? What is force? And what is friction? Then, in your own words, I need you to define or tell me what is the law of conservation of energy. Then you're going to go through and start on this simulation. So it says click intro, which is what we did already and how we got to this spot. And then you're going to just follow the directions. So it talks about how to move different things. So how does the skater's kinetic energy change as he moves down the ramp? So over here, when I put this bar graph up here, I can then watch what happens to the kinetic energy as he goes down and then up the ramp, okay? So it continues just on this continuous loop, right? And so it basically isn't really showing us friction, because if it was, friction would be slowing him down. And ultimately he would come to a stop down at the bottom of those ramps. So then what it talks about is changing the mass of the skater. So now we're looking at this lever right over here. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday already too, but I can go ahead and make the mass much smaller or make the mass much greater. So I need you to just take the time, go through 1, 2, 3. It tells you exactly what we're asking for as far as what you're supposed to be not only changing on here, but also then looking at as far as the skater's potential energy, total energy, and kinetic energy, okay? So one thing that I'll give you a little hint about is notice that total energy doesn't change very much at all. Then number 11 on the worksheet actually has you kind of look at the bar graph, and I need you to make those connections. So letter A on number 11, the potential energy is super high and the total energy is really high. So where it's asking you, where would the skater be on the ramp based on those energy outputs, okay? So basically what it's asking you to do is to basically look at how or where that person is, okay? So I'm going to try to pause right where I see he's at the top, right? So it says explain where the skater might be on the ramp based on the bar graph shown. So right now he's at the top of the ramp and my potential energy is highest and my total energy is highest. That matches letter A on number 11. So then I would just say, explain where the skater might be on the ramp. So for letter A, you'll see underneath there's a space for you to be able to type in where that skater is for letter A. Okay. So you'll do that for what the scale looks like, or the graph, looks like for letter B, and then also for letter C. Okay. So you might have to play around with it a little bit, hit play and pause a few times until you can make sure that skater guy is up at the top or down at the bottom or wherever, right? And so kind of just studying by where these different levels are on the graph. Okay. Then number 12, it says consider the zany track. So you can go ahead and change to the zany track if you want to think about it that way. What point or points on this track would the skater have? And then you're supposed to answer the most kinetic energy and the most potential energy. Then there are 7 questions being asked of you that are in conclusion on that worksheet. Okay. So these are the 7 kind of important parts of the worksheet. So I need you to go through 1 through 7 of each of those. And so remember, when we're working on a Google Doc, you'll want to just highlight those appropriate answers. Okay. I think that's the easiest thing to do on there. If you want to try to circle them or do some different color of font, that's okay too. I do think it's easiest to just highlight the correct answer though. Okay. All right. I'm going to check back to the agenda here. And so basically that goes through the entire simulation. We're just going to do the worksheet. We're going to fill out that first part using our book, remember. We're going to manipulate the skater to finish all of the other parts. And like I said, play and pause as you need to so that you can kind of capture where the skater is at the appropriate time so that you can have a graph that looks similar. Okay. Then the other thing that we're asking you to do today is, just like other Fridays in our distance learning, we have a Friday check-in. And so this, again, is pretty straightforward. We're just putting in our name and what hour we have science, and then going through each part so that we know what was expected of us this week. So it's really our way of trying to kind of make sure that you're accountable and make sure that you understand that each of these are pieces that probably coming up soon we're going to be tested on, right? So pages 24 through 29, did you do those, read those pages and do the questions? And then it goes through each and all of the parts that were asked of us throughout the week. If you by chance have not taken the quiz on Socrative yet, email me, let me know. We can work it out. Let's get that taken care of. And so we can even talk about doing that next week if that works better for you when you're here in person. Then it talks about the simulation, which we just talked about. Then there are these last few questions that I really want to make sure that you see are on here, okay? I have seen the schedule for hybrid learning and know which day I come back to school. So just going back to our daily agenda, I posted that here on the next slide, so that's available. Notice Monday, no school. That's why it's crossed off and the font underneath is actually in red. Then we see yellow, blue, yellow, blue. So next week again, so we have BA, BA, and that's just based on, we always have that L through Z group on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then the following week is where we see it just, it matches up, right? But now that B group, L through Z, is coming on that following Friday. It is my hope, my prayer, my ultimate goal that we are only in hybrid for 2 weeks. Obviously, that's not in my control, but that is our plan here at school. As of right now, we want to have 2 weeks of hybrid and then move into everybody here all the time. Okay, so as soon as we can do all of that, that would be best. So I'll go back to the Friday check-in because I just want to make sure. So I just talked about the schedule, where you can find that. And then also just that other reminder, yep, there's no school on Monday, Martin Luther King Day. And then the very last thing, I know that the end of the second quarter is Friday, January 22nd. That's where I know that if my grades are going to impact my eligibility for extracurricular activities, that's also that deadline is January 22nd. So make sure you are double checking and getting everything taken care of in the grade book to the best of your ability. When we get back here next week, I talked to some of your parents last night, and so understand we've made some connections and know that we can try to use next week as a catch-up time. We're going to be very busy, but we're going to be chasing after trying to get everything taken care of. We'll have those go time opportunities, but if you're here before school and you can get here even so that you can come in the building a little early, let me know, because I can have it worked out with the office. I know we're not supposed to be in the building before 7:45, but a few people can be let in early and we can get that worked out. If you want to take a quiz before that time and you're getting a ride to school already and you can get here a little early, let's work it out. Email me. Let me know what works for you, okay? And then we'll utilize those go time opportunities as well, like I talked about. And then anything after school is also available. So again, if you're getting a ride to and from school and you want to work it out so that you get picked up not till 3:30, and that allows you to have some extra time to check in with one of your teachers, that would be a great plan as well. Okay. All right. So I believe that's all I have for you today. Kind of a work day as far as not a whole lot on the agenda, making sure that we get that simulation completed, the worksheet, turn that in on Google Classroom when it is completed. If you have questions about it, stay on. I will go through a couple more things if you need me to. Otherwise, this could be it. I would love to say I'm done doing this through video. So I will see L through Z group on Tuesday, and I will see here at school the A through K group next week, Wednesday. I can't wait for that to happen. So if you have questions, stay on and we can chat about it. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon.